Good day, paisanos, and welcome to Nagatoro Every Week podcast. I hope you've had a great Ramadan. I'm Tectonic Improv, and this is my co-host, Evange.
It's been a week, Tech. It has been a week.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, cocked your head to the side, and said, "We doing the podcast?" But now we're back.
It has been an entire week.
Thankfully,
Yes.
you know, as stressful as the weekday can be, at least Ichiro Naide Nagatoro-san is here to brighten our Saturday afternoons.
To brighten our days, to brighten our lives, really.
As long as we have our Crunchyroll / Verve subscriptions, it'll all be okay. Yeah.
Am I right? Am I
Yeah.
right, guys? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure to use the Crunchyroll link with the promo code. Why haven't we gotten one of those yet?
I don't know. Like they haven't hit us up. I've been reaching out. I think the emails are getting like lost in spam or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're waiting. That's all I'm gonna say. Why don't we start talking about this episode?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. This was a good one. This was a good one. They're sticking with a theme, not really a theme, but they're sticking with just kind of jumping around and kind of slapping episodes together and just kind of making it. And I think it's like just trying to make it work better. And I think it has been working.
It has, yeah. I haven't. If I hadn't read the manga, I wouldn't have known any better. Like I would have just assumed that this was the order, the sequence in which events occurred.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, like how they're presenting it.
They're not going to be able to get away with it later on. You know, when arcs become actually established, and it's not just hijinks ensue. But for now, it's working. Have you noticed that this episode was probably the horniest one so far?
Yes. And actually, it was, and it also wasn't, because I think they censored some things.
Did they?
Yeah. So, well, I guess we'll get to that when it comes to it. But first, I want to address the elephant in the room, as it were.
There's a lot of elephants in this podcast.
There's always going to be an elephant.
How do they keep getting in?
They can't keep getting away with this. So I'm not sure I think I just have brainworms at this point, because there's something in the very beginning of the episode where she says "sosune," which just means like "that's right."
No.
And all I could hear is "sus."
That's brainworms, Evange. That's not an elephant in the room. You're like,
look, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
This is your Tyler Durden.
I don't know what that means.
You're sus, Evange. You're sus.
Oh, wait, that's Fight Club, isn't it? Haha, okay, yeah, I get it. No, I'm not sus. Chungus Among Us, Chungus Among Us, Chungus Among Us.
Just calm down, Evange, and take your medicine. And then let's talk about the ecchi gag at the beginning of the episode. I get they started it off with another like Coomer gag to get the people in their seats, right? To get asses.
They gotta draw them in.
Yeah,
they gotta give the people what they want.
I assume that's probably assuming makes an ass out of you and me, obviously. I think every single assumption I've made, like the assumption I made that they'd follow in order, has been completely wrong. But I'm going to assume this one's right. They're probably going to keep doing like the ecchi gags at the beginning of episodes.
I don't remember if it's last episode or if it was done in last episode, but the way I see it is that like they're using like the omake like comics, like the short like in between chapters as like the lead-ins to the episodes.
I think someone in the comments of last week's episode, there was actually someone who commented, mentioned that the Oh, good. Thankfully, I have it up. Yeah, the hula hoop scene was from a special chapter. I know you were talking about that before.
Yeah, because I think I was having trouble finding that one.
So I guess I guess what you're saying is right. Basically, all I'm trying to say.
Like always.
Mm-hmm.
However, I might have my own brainworms, but that wasn't the only time in the episode that they might not have said sus then, but they definitely said sus later.
I didn't hear it, or maybe I wasn't paying attention.
It's not even something not to hear. They're playing video games later. Like they're so later in the episode, it starts raining. They're trying to run out of the rain, get out of the rain. They end up going to Nagatoro's house, and this is in the second half of the episode. But they're like,
second half of the first episode.
Senpai's getting all nervous and everything when they're in her bedroom, and she's just like, "Senpai, you're acting twice as sus today."
I must have. I think I was jotting down notes when she said that. That must have not crossed through my path. Otherwise, I would have written something about that. That's funny. They're definitely doing it on purpose. At this point.
Absolutely. I'm not a fan of all these like activist translators or whatever you want to call them that are trying to just like put in their own personal agenda into anime translation. But I'm going to put my foot down. I'm not okay with this. They're really distorting the story here. I don't want Nagatoro to canonically play Among Us. That's not okay.
Like literally haven't we all played Among Us?
Not that I want to admit it, but yeah.
Like, who cares? I know you're not being serious.
I'm not.
But I'm sure there's someone out there who is like actually mad about this, and it makes me mad that they're mad. But yeah, for a second, I remember the Caught in the Rain chapter, and I remember them playing video games. But I forgot that she straight up like invites him to her house. Cause I feel like I would have remembered that, but obviously not, because I didn't read the chapters in preparation for this podcast, because once again, terrible podcast host. But I liked the little scenario that Senpai imagined with Nagatoro's parents, who are Jesse and James from Pokemon.
You're right. And it's just her kind of done up in some yeah. So that was actually a really nice touch, because as I've been doing, I've been taking like an hour to watch each of these episodes, because I go and I like cross-analyze it with the manga as I'm watching it.
Fuck yeah.
really get into that deep technical analysis of these episodes. And like in the manga, it's just kind of like, it's really not as special or anything, not necessarily special, but it's just kind of like her parents are kind of like faceless, just like normal like background characters that they don't look like her, but the cat is there too, and that's kind of funny. Yeah. Making them just like look like funny versions of Nagatoro dressed up with the cat on the side is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a nice little expansion of the idea. There's something I liked from the I'm going back a little bit, but where they're like caught in the rain, and you know Nagatoro's uniform is wet, and I won't finish that sentence, but the right she looks down looks down at her uniform, and she notices that her uniform is wet, and then just like for a second she looks like embarrassed, and she's kind of like pauses for a bit, and then she like cooks up like a little scheme. I thought that was cute. It's something I think that was probably better in the anime, just because they can use actual time to sort of give the scene a beat, whereas in like the manga you could just like read the panels at like whatever speed you wanted.
Yeah, it gives a lot of like, rather than just kind of like going between like frame of her expression, like changing, it's kind of like there's more time for them to like slowly show like the subtle like shift in her, because there's like in that scene where they're like, it's raining and they're sitting under like the like the outcrop or whatever, what would you call that thing, gazebo. Yeah. There's like a moment where she's like trying to like ball up her courage to like ask him to go to her house, and so like finally like gets the resolve to do it, and that was kind of nice.
Yeah, it was cute. Um, I just noticed this, or maybe I've noticed it now enough to finally point it out. Whenever they draw Senpai from like the profile, they never draw like the arms of his glasses where his eyes are.
I have never noticed that. I think that's
You
kind of
will
something that
notice
anime
it.
does a lot, because I know what you're talking about, and it's just so like you can see his eyes. Right?
Yeah. It's fine, I suppose, but it also feels a little lazy. Like if you want us to see his eyes, then I don't know, draw it in a way that we can see his eyes.
Fair enough.
Shmee. But okay, let's get back. He's back in the house.
He's back in the house. They get into the house, and actually no. Before we get into that, now that I think about it, actually the opening scene with her in the swimsuit actually does lead really well into this. Now that I think about it,
it does. Yeah, I was actually surprised that the
it sets up the swimsuit.
Gag, yeah,
and then they like pay it off.
That was pretty good because that wasn't in the manga, right?
Yeah, no, because it was the initial like swimsuit like mini chapter is 4.5, and then we skip all the way to chapter 17, so they're a ways apart.
So yeah, so that's a pretty clever way to sort of tie things around. I like that a lot. All right. Here's one more thing before we go back to Nagatoro's house. Where did the whole like if you get caught in the rain you'll get a cold trope come from? This is not like a Japanese only thing.
I think that's kind of like more of like a Japanese or kind of like East Asian thing. I'm really not sure. I think it has kind of something to do in the same vein of like if you're cold you'll just get sick. Like if you like leave your like air conditioning on overnight you'll get sick or something like that. Like you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Actually, I think it's even more than that. I think there's a whole thing where like people are scared to like leave their AC on overnight because they think it'll kill them.
I think it was there was a superstition about leaving fans on overnight. Which I guess
maybe that's
AC
it.
is just like a super fan, so that makes sense. But also, why the fuck would you not leave your AC on overnight, you fucking maniacs?
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
Don't
understand it.
It's such a non sequitur. It doesn't matter. It's just like I see it all the fucking time. And it's like
it's
I've
just
been
a really
caught in the
easy
rain
trope.
so many times that I've never gotten a cold from it. At least I don't remember anyway.
Yeah, you've got a strong American Constitution.
Sure. Yeah. That's what that is. So what was it? The scene where Senpai is like drying himself off with her towel, right? And she mentions her big brother. So I was like popping off at that scene. Is that in the manga too?
It is, yeah.
Okay, all right, good.
We've actually supposedly known that she has a brother since the Dojins.
Yes, he appears in the Dojins, but he hasn't appeared in the manga yet.
He has not. However, we have met her sister later on, but
we have met her sister.
We'll get to that eventually. Probably not actually in the anime, but it'd be nice if we did.
She's definitely a season 2 character, if anything, which is a shame because she's very good. Everyone, she's great.
She's wonderful, and I really do look forward to when they finally actually introduce the rest of her family. It's because there's not enough characters in this manga. I think it would be more interesting if we can just see how. A lot of it's just interesting in how Senpai reacts and interacts with other characters besides Nagatoro, and seeing how flustered he gets and how he reacts.
Yeah, and
that'd just be great.
That's a strength of the second half of the episode. We don't have to talk about that right now. We can talk about the epic video game battle that occurs.
Yeah. They play a Just Gear, which I'm sure is a reference to Guilty Gear, popular Japanese fighting game for those who don't know.
Yeah, it appears Senpai he's a Kai main.
Yeah, which is that's kind of funny to me, just because like he's like a pretty like he's like a Shoto, he's like a normal like generic like fighting game character, so it kind of makes sense Yeah, I don't know if they intend that, but it makes sense that Senpai would just choose like a really like vanilla character.
Yeah, the vanilla milquetoast like high tier guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Nagatoro plays the weird cat thing.
Yeah, and that's just goes along with how she's usually characterized. I don't know, and they probably will do it eventually, but there's a chapter pretty early on, and I'm getting off topic, where they like Senpai's like dreaming and he imagines her in his like fantasy world where he's like drawing his manga, and she's like, what's her name? I forget what it is. It's like Toro-chan or something like that.
Yeah,
Toro Cat. Yeah, Toro Cat.
I think so. I know what you're talking about.
And she becomes like a cat superhero kinda.
I'm surprised that hasn't come up yet.
We haven't seen that. It'll probably be a later episode, but I digress.
Yeah.
Them playing video games, I think, is probably one of the cutest parts.
It's
like this early on.
It's very cute.
It's probably the first time we see like Nagatoro like kind of like just like let her inhibitions go and kind of like open up a bit. We just kind of like see her just like being happy and just like enjoying herself with him.
I love that she gets so mad when he wins, and I love that he just like smokes her. He doesn't hold back at all. It's really good. And you know what? It's a lesson to be learned, because you can't go easy. You can't go easy on the men. You gotta show them what's up. You know.
Look,
in the video world, game,
you might be the bully, but in the digital world, I'm the bully.
In this world, I am king. I have many lives.
Yeah, no, Senpai really does give it to her though.
In the video game.
In the video game, we can only wish. We can only dream.
Yeah, one day,
someday.
But yeah, this was a very cute episode. I liked it a lot. And
yeah, no, I think just that first like half whatever you want to call it, the first part of the episode had just a lot of really cute faces. I kept writing down timestamps of the cute faces, and we'll probably use those for the thumbnail.
Just send me the timestamps, and I'll pick the best of the litter. How about that?
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about the second episode, or second half of the episode, because I've
been looking forward to this.
Me too. It seems to be a mashup of two chapters, I believe. The one where he first meets Nagatoro's friends, and then the one where they do like the little comedy duo thing. I did not like this episode as much as the first half, but I'll be sure to explain why as we go along. What I want to ask first basically has nothing to do with the episode itself, but it has to do with high school. Evange, did you have a table in high school?
Like the table that I sit at with my friends at lunch?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, very good. When I was in high school, the way the lunch was set up, it depended. Every like semester, I think, there was a different like group for lunches, because you would go to lunch, and then you would go to your third class of the day, and or sometimes you would go to class for half of the time, go to lunch, and then go to the second half, and then you go to your third class, and then you end with lunch. It depended on which class you took. So every semester
that's surprisingly similar to my high school structure.
Well, that's good. Then I don't have to explain it that anymore, because it's been a long time actually, and I'm kind of forgetting how it worked. What I was trying to explain is that every semester it would change. Like you have to find like a new group usually. For my senior year, I didn't have a third block class, so I could just like go to lunch whenever. But in my freshman year, I didn't have like any friends in my lunch situation, so I pretty much had to sit with randos, and so it was very terrible
situation.
But or is in this episode, Senpai is basically, he has nowhere to sit, so he gets beckoned by Nagatoro to sit with her and her friends, and this is suspiciously similar to a couple of my seating arrangements in high school. There was one in sophomore year where I think it was me and one of my other friends. So it's not exactly like this, but close enough. Me and one of my other friends, we sat with this group of like upperclassmen girls. I have no clue why they let us sit with them, because why the fuck? But they were very nice. They're very nice ladies. Not like the girls in Nagatoro. And then
yeah, her friends are kind of they're just kind of mean to him, like right off the bat.
They are very, yeah, exactly. Maybe too mean for a certain someone.
Yeah, no, not. We want to explain the plot. I feel like I've been doing that a bit too much. Is that where we want to go with this?
Yeah, I'll explain the plot a little bit. Basically, he can't find anywhere to sit, and Nagatoro lets him sit with him at the lunch table because obviously she likes him, and she's sitting with Gamo and Yoshi, I believe are her names, are their names. Her two other friends we haven't met yet. So this is the formal introduction to the rest of Nagatoro's gaggle. And like they're immediately giving him a hard time. So you can tell that this is just like a thing that her and like Nagatoro and her friends just like do. Maybe
they're just kind of like riffing on her, but then like
even
they're like, "Oh, is this your
other,
boyfriend?"
Really.
And she's like immediately says like, "Yeah, he's my boyfriend."
It's like, "Oh yeah, he sure is." And then they start going even more in on this because they know he's weak, and they're preying on him, and it gets to a point where Nagatoro's like, "Stop, you've gone too far," and that was one of the first times in the manga where I was like, "Oh shit, okay, I'm liking this."
She actually does care about him, yeah. Because to do what I've been doing, this was chapter 11, so we're cutting back to before like him going to her house.
It's still seamless, like it doesn't really matter, though.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, and it works. Because, yeah, to be fair, a lot of these chapters up until we start getting into story arcs don't really have a timeline around them. They're just kind of jumping around. You could probably piece it together, because I think they have Valentine's Day as an episode and White Day. Yeah. So there's some kind of timeline going on here, but it's not really coherent until a certain point.
Yes.
Yeah, just the way she like reacts and just looks at her friends with dead eyes as they like try to like, because she's like rubbing his hair and playing with his hair and like, "Your hair is so gross, senpai." And then
the friend try Yoshi, doing it. Yeah,
like Yoshi's like bit is that she just like repeats what you say, right? And so she's like, so Nagatoro's like, "Your hair is so gross, so gross." And then Yoshi's like, "Gross, gross." And she goes to pat his head, and Nagatoro just grabs her arm, looks her dead in the eye, and just goes, "Don't do that."
So in the manga, I think that scene is done a lot better, and I think it's the same reason why the scene in the rain I liked more in the anime. Just like the way it's done, there's not really like harsh cuts or anything, so it just sort of happens. Like she just sort of grabs Yoshi's arm and is like, "Don't do that," and then it just sort of it just happens like almost. Like I guess like it would actually happen in real life. So maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little less like slapstick than it is in the manga.
The second time it happened though, I actually did kind of like it. Especially since there was like an awkward pause or something after. Whoever's playing Yoshi does a really good job. Just like the way she's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder who the leader of the group is.
I don't know if there's ever really like an established like this person is like, yeah, like the clique leader or anything like that. I don't really think there needs to be.
Yeah, no.
Probably it's very likely like the ones that are most assertive are Nagatoro and Gamo.
Yeah, Haruko. The but there's another half of the episode which is like which admittedly it doesn't really have too much to it, but it's still kind of funny. It's another ecchi gag where
speaking of ecchi gags, before we get into that,
okay.
So I know we were talking about like at the very beginning how this is like the Coomer episode kinda, but so there's actually some parts in that like lunchroom chapter where they like show like Nagatoro, like he sees Nagatoro and her friends at the very beginning when he walks up to their table and he's like kind of intimidated and he just imagines them all in like kind of like sexy demon outfits. They're like demon lords or something like that in his mind, and they don't show that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they didn't show that. It was like, just
they actually finally show some restraint for once.
I'm surprised because we see Nagatoro's bare ass in this episode. So you think they wouldn't give a shit about succubus costumes, but whatever. All right. That's
too hot for TV.
Too hot for TV, I guess. What a shame. We should boycott this anime.
Yeah, that's it. This is the end. No more Nagatoro Every Week podcast, folks.
It's canceled. They didn't put in the succubus costumes. I'm sorry, everyone. I know you were really looking forward to week 7. Week 7's gonna be a doozy, but we just can't stand this crap anymore.
Yeah, see you in season 2 where hopefully they finally fix this up.
Yeah. Only with our silence will speak. I can't think of a fucking. I'm
volumes.
So, yeah, that's the phrase, isn't it? I'm so bad at of remembering like idioms off the top of my head. I've never been good at it.
I can't believe you would do this and degrade the quality of this podcast.
Well, it's ending so after this episode anyway, so.
That's true, but we should at least go out on a high note.
We will. We still have to talk about the scene where he touches boob.
True.
So they're doing like this little this like classic Japanese comedy like duo gag.
I don't understand that, by the way. I don't get Japanese comedy at all.
I don't really. The joke, the duo thing that they're doing, for anyone unaware, is it's a classic like Japanese like comedy duo where one of them is like a goofy guy who just says like ridiculous things, and then there's the straight man who's like, "What are you talking about?" And that's the joke. I don't really get it either. It's RNO of Game Center CX is actually like part of a comedy duo like that. I don't actually know if he's like the goofball guy or the straight man. I think he's the goofball, but they're trying to replicate that. But it's really cute because she's trying to explain to him how to run it. Like senpai, you be the straight man and I'll be the goofball, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But she goes she's really way too far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get she's trying to like make him stand up for himself.
Yeah,
and even to the point where she goes too far. She just starts like insulting him like over and over and over again, trying to get him to like do the straight man bit. To the point where he just almost starts crying again, which we're used to that at this point. That's happened plenty of times.
It's what you might call the P word, progress.
Oh no! Oh god!
She almost makes him cry, and then before she does, she stops. And you can see that she legitimately feels bad, and then there's a break, and the gears start turning again, where she's like, "All right, it's time to stop feeling bad. It's time to go back into what I do best." And I thought that was really good, but the part, senpai's, he's like, "You're right. It's time to finally stand up for myself." And she's like teaching him to do like the raise his hand and be like, "Ugh, enough of this." and he does it, and uh-oh, he did it in the wrong spot, everyone, because he accidentally touched boob with the backside of his hand. He backhanded her tits.
I'll be honest, I actually had a pretty similar situation happen in, when was it? It must have been like my freshman year of high school.
This is what I live for. This is what the audience lives for, the personal stories that relate to the podcast. Tell us.
Exactly. So it wasn't, I didn't have some girl trying to get me to do a funny Japanese comedy bit with her, but I was we were doing some like weird tag game in like the gym class we had to do. And we only had to do it, I think that freshman year was the only year I actually had gym. Yes. But they're having us play tag. And I'm trying to play tag. I'm running around, I'm trying to hit people. And there were like teams. But like I forget, there was some restriction on like the tagger team. So I'm running around, I'm trying to tag, and I'm trying to tag this girl. And what do you know? I run up because she's facing the other way, so I'm behind her. So I'm behind her. I'm coming up to try to like tag her, and she just turns around, and oh, what do you know? I just get a freaking handful of tit. This was.
Did you?
It was a first for freshman year of Ange.
Did you tackle her to the ground and be like, oh, what's happening?
No, my crotch is on top of you. No, yeah, no, that totally, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, because that doesn't happen. But
that doesn't happen in real life. What do you think this is, an anime? Watch too much anime, you freaking nerd.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I think about it every night. No. Cut that. Actually cut that.
It's okay, Vince. I got you. But and that's pretty much where the episode ends. They're both like simultaneously as embarrassed. Like, I'm sorry. It's like, it's okay. And that's just kind of it. So I want to congratulate Senpai on reaching second base. I think that's really amazing of him. We're only 3 episodes in, and he's already made it so far. Hopefully he can seal the deal. Congratulations.
Yeah, fingers crossed for more progress. I don't know. Would you say this or what happened in, was it the first or second episode where she grabs his crotch? Which is worse? Which is more progress?
I don't think and either of these are progress. Because they're very clearly gags that don't really go anywhere.
Not progress, but like Senpai getting to a base. Which you think which one's better?
I'm gonna say touch crotch. Because like, are we going to is this a problematic thing to say? I don't think boob is equal to wiener, you know?
True. I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going with this.
Me neither.
Cut this too?
No, this one's staying.
Okay, this stays in.
This one can stay in. That's about all. That's about everything.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to say about this episode. It was fine. It was funny. There were a lot of cute faces. That was it. I think they're doing a really good job showing like actually articulating like her expressions.
The faces are great. Yeah. Anyone who wants to turn Nagatoro into paste can't relate. She's so cute. I just don't get it. And
yeah, she's so cute. I just want to put her in a jar.
No, I'm not like that. Uh-oh. And that no. I think that's where we're gonna end it, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.
So long, folks.